Have you ever felt that gentle touch in your spirit, something that cannot be explained, but that brings peace and direction? That inexplicable feeling that something greater is trying to communicate with you, but that can only be understood with an open heart. Often, this is how Mary, our Heavenly Mother, makes herself present in our lives, not with great thunderous signals, but with delicate, subtle messages. Like a sigh in the wind or the soft glow of the sun at dawn, she calls us with a gentle touch, almost imperceptible, but with profound transformative power. On the spiritual path, God's silence speaks louder than we imagine. When we are attentive and willing, Mary's signs appear before us, offering subtle but firm guidance. What often goes unnoticed by the world has profound meaning for those who know how to listen. These are signs that, though discreet, guide us in times of confusion, bring us peace when we are lost, and prepare us for future challenges. These are the signs that Mary sends us, hoping that, on our journey, we will recognize them and respond to them with faith. Have you ever experienced something like this? A moment when, without logical explanation, something touched your heart and gave you the certainty that there was a divine message behind it. It is precisely this delicacy of Mary's communication that often escapes us. But when we allow ourselves to be silent and open our hearts, we begin to perceive these manifestations that can transform our spiritual journey. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may surprise you. Throughout this video, we'll explore the 7 unrevealed messages of Medjugorje and how they convey the subtle yet powerful signs Mary sends us. Each of these messages is an invitation to listen more attentively, to open our eyes and hearts to the gentleness of the divine touch. What may seem like a simple sigh can actually be a turning point in our spiritual lives. So, prepare to embark on a path of discovery, where Mary's words become more than guidance. They are a gentle touch to your spirit, a direct call to your heart. Let's continue our journey and explore how these signs can shape our faith in silent, but immeasurable ways. As we continue this journey of discovery, I invite you to share with me what this content has awakened in you. If you've ever experienced a moment where you felt Mary's gentle touch, or if you're beginning to notice these signs in your life, leave your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear what has touched you most so far and how you've experienced this subtle yet profound communication from our Heavenly Mother. And if this topic resonates with you, if you feel this content can help others find this same path of spiritual transformation, please like the video. This will help spread this message to more hearts that, like yours, are searching for this deep connection with God. And, of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take this opportunity to do so now and follow everything we have prepared. Your subscription is essential for the channel to continue growing and reach more people with this type of content. Together, we can make this message of faith and transformation reach even further. Every comment, every like, and every subscription has a real impact on the continuity of our work and how we can share these important teachings. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow, allowing more souls to be touched by these truths. I truly appreciate you being a part of this. Now, let's continue our journey, because Mary's signs are getting closer and closer to us, and, believe me, what comes next will surprise you even more. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because there's something truly fascinating and mysterious about Medjugorje that you need to understand. Did you know that, although Medjugorje is a place of enormous spiritual importance, many of Mary's messages transmitted there are still unknown? To most people, it's as if there's a veil still hiding the fullness of the revelation, waiting for the right hearts to be prepared to receive it. Medjugorje, for those unfamiliar, is a small village in Bosnia and Herzegovina that has become one of the most visited centers in the world for people seeking spiritual and physical healing. Since 1981, when 6 young people claimed to have begun seeing the Virgin Mary, Medjugorje has been a place of intense prayer, miracles, and revelations. Mary's apparitions here have touched thousands of lives, transforming those who approach with an open heart and a listening mind. However, over the years, it wasn't just the visible apparitions that marked history. The messages Mary shared during these apparitions are the true treasure that continues to be unveiled. But what few people know is that, to this day, many of Mary's profound and even challenging teachings remain unrevealed to the general public. Although the world has access to several messages conveyed by the apparitions, a significant portion remains secret, awaiting the right moment to be revealed. These teachings hold powerful lessons that can change the way we view our faith, our purpose, and, most importantly, the way we connect with the divine. Mary, with her immense wisdom and tenderness, sends us subtle signs that cannot be ignored, but are often difficult to understand unless we are willing to delve deeply into what she tells us. It seems like a puzzle, doesn't it? How can something so important be kept secret? And why haven't these messages been fully revealed yet? The hidden truth behind this is that there are layers of depth that not everyone is ready to access. Like a jewel hidden in a vault, these messages can only be understood by those who, on their spiritual journey, dedicate themselves to seeking a deeper understanding. And Maria knows exactly who these people are. And it is precisely about these unrevealed messages that I want to talk to you. Because, even though many of them are still shrouded in mystery, they are what connect us to the true purpose of our spiritual life. Over time, those who have dedicated themselves to understanding Mary's signs in Medjugorje have realized that behind each apparition lies something even deeper, something that needs to be heard and, above all, experienced. These messages are not just words spoken in the wind. They have the power to transform our reality, to change our mindset, to help us make decisions that bring us closer to the true path. They are a direct invitation to a new way of living, a way that calls us to awaken to the spiritual truth we often try to ignore. These are not words that simply comfort us. They are words that challenge our understanding, that ask us to go further, to delve into the depths of our own faith. Mary speaks to us in a soft yet firm tone, like a mother guiding us with gentle hands but with an invisible strength. Each of these unrevealed messages is a gentle yet profoundly transformative touch. They are not easy to understand at first glance, but when we listen to them with our hearts, we can see how they uniquely guide us on our spiritual journey. Have you ever stopped to think why these messages haven't been fully revealed until now? What is so special about them that requires inner preparation for us to fully understand them? This is where the great truth about Medjugorje comes in. Mary's revelation is not something to simply be read or heard, but lived. Each of us needs to go through a process of inner transformation, of opening our hearts, for these messages to make sense. And so, the revelations Mary has for us are not only teachings, but also an invitation to actively participate in this transformation. These messages reach us in a way that requires us to undertake a journey of faith, patience, and understanding. They call us to action, to reflect on our attitudes, our choices, and especially on the path we are taking. While many seek ready-made and immediate answers, the messages of Medjugorje invite us to a deeper discovery, a journey that begins with inner silence and attentive listening. These are not revelations that are delivered all at once. They are revelations that unfold, opening up to those who know how to wait, to those who are in no hurry to understand, but who surrender themselves to the mystery of divine revelation. That you have a clearer understanding of the power of Mary's messages at Medjugorje. Join me as we delve even deeper into this mystery. We will explore, with an open heart, the impact of these revelations on the lives of those who, like you, seek truth in a world of distractions. If you are ready to follow, to listen carefully to what Mary has to say, then come with me and continue this journey, because what comes next has the power to transform your life in ways you may never have imagined. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because the gentle touch of the Spirit is something that, if you stop to reflect, has the power to transform not only how you see your life, but also how you perceive Mary's presence in your journey. This touch, however subtle, is something much more powerful than we often imagine. It doesn't require grand manifestations or spectacular visions, but rather an attentive heart, a spirit willing to connect with something far beyond what the eyes can see. It is in divine silence that Mary communicates with her children, and this silence is not empty, but filled with meaning, messages, and guidance. This gentle touch can be a sign of guidance or even a warning, depending on how we listen to it and welcome it. Often, what seems like a simple thought, a strange sensation, or a small inspiration can be Mary's very presence, guiding our steps. We are not alone in our decisions or in our moments of anguish. What we often lack is the ability to perceive this touch, which comes with a delicacy that cannot be forced. Mary, in her maternal love, knows we must go slowly, touching our spirit, in a way that only those in tune with the divine can perceive. She does not shout, she does not demand. She simply touches gently, with the same tenderness of a mother cradling her child in her arms, waiting for it to calm down so she can hear her voice. And when we look at the first messages of Medjugorje, we see exactly this. Mary didn't come with grand announcements or dramatic manifestations. She presented herself in a simple, yet powerful way, asking people to pray and convert. In the beginning, there was no call for great miracles or anything extraordinary, but a silent appeal to each person's heart. The message was clear: pray and convert. A gentle yet profound invitation, as if Mary were saying to us, "Come to me with an open heart. Come with me and I will guide you. But first you must listen to the silence." What Mary conveys to us is not just spoken words, but the silent and profound communication she exerts in every moment of our lives. Over the years, as more people began arriving in Medjugorje and connecting with these messages, many testimonies began to emerge, and what seemed to be simply a call to prayer and conversion became something much more. Mary's gentle touch revealed itself in many ways, from an inexplicable peace in times of tribulation to a profound feeling of connection with the divine. It wasn't about seeing something extraordinary, but about perceiving Mary's presence in every little detail of our lives. Every gesture, every prayer, every thought became an opportunity to be closer to her, to hear more clearly the messages she had left. And this is where the true beauty of the gentle touch comes in. It teaches us to live in the present, to pay attention to the little things we often overlook, but which are precisely where we find divine guidance. These initial messages, so simple, yet powerful, speak of the need for continual prayer, transformation of the heart, and personal conversion. What Mary asked for in Medjugorje was much more than words. It was an invitation for a real change in our mindset, a call to a new way of living, a new way of seeing the world. Constant prayer and dedication to a path of conversion were, and continue to be, the pillars of her message. There are no complicated formulas or difficult demands, but rather a demand for genuine presence. For a heart willing to transform and open itself to the divine. Mary knew that, for each of us, the path of conversion would not be easy, but she showed us that this process begins with prayer and a willingness to change our perspective on life and ourselves. This is what the gentle touch of the Spirit is, the ability to see the transformation taking place in silence, the confidence that, even in the most difficult moments, we are being guided by an invisible hand, guiding us calmly and steadily. Now, you may be wondering, how can I perceive this gentle touch in my life? How can I connect with this guidance that Mary offers? The first step, and perhaps the most important, is to cultivate inner silence. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by external stimuli, silence can be one of the greatest challenges. But it is also in silence that we find the opportunity to hear what Mary has to say to us. It is in silence that our soul opens to divine action, where we can perceive those small signs of love, guidance, and even warning that she sends us. Imagine how much our lives could change if for a moment we decided to set aside distractions and truly listen to what the Spirit has to reveal to us. Mary's gentle touch is not something imposed, but something offered, waiting for us to be ready to receive it. And, as in Medjugorje, the key to this transformative experience lies in our willingness to listen, to surrender, and, above all, to trust in the silent, divine process that is taking place in our lives. If you've experienced this gentle touch or started noticing these signs in your own life, or even if this idea is just beginning to resonate with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below. This resonates with me. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because what I'm about to share with you has the potential to change not only your understanding of Medjugorje, but also the way you connect with Mary and your faith. Have you ever stopped to think about what's hidden behind Mary's words? What did she really want to tell us in the messages that, to this day, remain unrevealed? What if I told you there are messages that could change your worldview and bring you even closer to Mary? Something so profound and transformative that no matter how much the words are within our grasp, their true meaning continues to unfold with each step of our spiritual journey. It's incredible to think that in a place like Medjugorje, where so many have been touched by a divine presence and experienced inexplicable miracles, there is still a mystery behind Mary's words. We know that she has shared countless messages of faith, love, and transformation with those who listen to her. But what few know is that there are 7 messages that Mary has not fully revealed to the public. They are hidden, waiting for the right moment to be unveiled and understood by those whose hearts are ready to hear them. These 7 messages are not mere words. They carry a profound power that goes far beyond immediate understanding. They are like spiritual keys, awaiting those who wish to open them, understand the divine mystery they hold, and draw even closer to the heart of Mary. Imagine for a moment that these messages have the power to not only impact your life, but to transform the way you see the world around you. They are not simple revelations of facts, but truths that touch the soul, that shake the very fabric of our being, and that challenge our perception of reality. When we speak of the unrevealed messages, we are touching on something extremely delicate. These are words that Mary, in her infinite wisdom, chose to keep hidden until the right moment. But why didn't she reveal them immediately? What is so profound and essential about these messages that they must wait to be fully understood? The answer lies in the process of spiritual transformation. Mary doesn't just speak to the ears. She speaks to the hearts, and hearts must be prepared to listen. If you stop and think about it, each of these unrevealed messages is like a seed planted within us. As our spirit grows and opens to divine truth, these seeds begin to germinate, bringing forth a deeper, clearer, and more intense understanding. What once seemed like a simple word or instruction becomes a profound revelation that shapes our actions, decisions, and, most importantly, our faith. And it is precisely at this point that we find the great mystery of these messages. They don't arrive with a bang, nor with grandiose signs. They arrive softly, almost imperceptibly, waiting for our hearts to be ready to receive them. They speak of transformation, of conversion, of how prayer can change not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us. And the most impressive thing is that, even without us being fully aware of their depth, these messages begin to guide us, to shape us in a silent but incredibly powerful way. Now, you might be wondering, how can these messages affect my life? How can they change my perception of reality, of my spiritual journey? The answer is simple, yet complex. They invite us to take a step further, to leave our comfort zone, to challenge our limited view of the world. They ask us to open our eyes to what lies beyond the visible, to trust in something greater than ourselves, to believe in the power of transformation that comes through faith and prayer. What Mary is telling us through these messages is that our spiritual life is not static. It is always in motion, constantly evolving. And the revelations Mary shared, many of them not yet fully understood, are like landmarks that help guide our path. They are like signposts along a road that show us where we should go, how we should live, and what we should do to be more faithful to our divine mission. It's not just about following rules or doctrines. It's about a personal journey of transformation, where each choice, each prayer, each moment of introspection brings us closer to Mary and the truth she represents. Have you ever stopped to think about the impact these messages could have on your life if you fully understood them? What could change in your daily life, your relationships, your decisions? What if, by understanding these unrevealed words, you became a different person, more connected to your purpose, more aware of your role in the divine plan? This is the true power of these messages. They are not just to be heard, they are to be lived, experienced, and incorporated into our daily lives. Now, imagine what would happen if you began to perceive these messages more clearly, more deeply. How would this change your mindset? How could it transform your attitudes, your decisions, and even your outlook on life? The hidden truth behind these words is that they call us to an inner transformation that goes beyond what our logical minds can comprehend, but which makes complete sense to the heart that is willing to open itself to the divine mystery. And it is this openness, this willingness to receive the messages Mary has for us, that leads us on a path of profound transformation. When we are willing to set aside our preconceived ideas and allow Mary's gentle touch to guide us, we begin to realize that everything we experience is part of a greater plan, a journey that goes far beyond our immediate understanding. If you've made it this far and are beginning to realize the profound impact of these messages, then tell me, what else do you feel is being revealed within you? Write down, I'm on this journey to... Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the truth is that the key to perceiving Mary's gentle touch lies in our ability to tune into our spirit. It's almost like tuning into a radio. The frequency is already there, but we're often out of tune, too busy with the distractions of the world around us. To hear the Spirit's gentle melody, we need to silence the external and internal noises that distance us from this connection. But what does it really mean to be in tune with the Spirit? How can we become more attentive to the signs sent to us, like those small manifestations of Mary that often escape us? Spiritual preparation isn't something that happens overnight. It's an ongoing process, a journey of transformation where, little by little, we learn to hear what lies beyond the tangible, the visible. When Mary speaks to us in silence, she doesn't demand that we do something grand. She simply asks us to be present, to be willing to listen, to make room for this divine communication. This is true spiritual preparation, opening our hearts and minds to a deeper experience of faith and connection with the divine. So how can we prepare ourselves to hear this gentle touch Mary sends us? How can we cultivate a deeper connection with Spirit? The answer lies in simple yet powerful spiritual practices that help us slow down, stop to listen, and, most importantly, notice what's around us. Daily prayer is one of the most effective tools for this spiritual attunement. Prayer is not just reciting words. It is a moment of surrender, of opening our hearts to the divine and creating space for God to manifest in our lives. When we pray, we tune into a higher frequency, moving away from the hustle and bustle of the world and approaching the serenity that allows us to hear the voice of the Spirit. It is in the stillness of prayer that we begin to perceive the subtle signs, the silent inspirations that Mary sends to each of us. But prayer doesn't have to be complex or lengthy. The simple act of connecting with the divine, speaking to God, or Mary, expressing gratitude, or asking for guidance, is enough to open the doors of spiritual perception. The constant practice of this connection creates a habit, a mindset of active listening, where we are more attentive to every detail around us, ready to perceive even the smallest of signs. Furthermore, meditation is another practice that can be transformative in this attunement process. By meditating, we allow ourselves to be fully present in the moment, without judgment or distractions. Meditation helps calm the mind, reduce stress and anxiety, and create an inner space where the voice of the Spirit can be heard clearly. And spiritual meditation, focused on seeking connection with Mary or the divine, is even more powerful, as it places us in a state of deep receptivity. Meditation is also a path to introspection. When we meditate, we have the opportunity to look within, to examine our emotions, thoughts, and feelings. This process of self-knowledge is crucial for spiritual preparation, because it is only when we are at peace with ourselves in our spiritual journey that we can perceive the subtle messages sent to us. If we are too immersed in worries or anxieties, it is very easy to miss these gentle signals that come from Mary. But the most important practice, without a doubt, is attentive listening to the heart. To be in tune with the Spirit, we need to learn to listen differently. It's not superficial listening, not listening only with the ears. Listening that leads to the heart is a silent listening, where we pay attention to what is being felt, not just what is being said. This means stopping and reflecting on what our spirit is telling us, what our heart is trying to communicate. Attentive listening is an exercise in trust. Trust in what we feel, trust in what God or Mary sends us, and trust in ourselves to act according to that guidance. This process requires patience. It's not an immediate response, but a path that unfolds before us as we practice these spiritual virtues. By embracing prayer, meditation, and attentive listening to our hearts, we begin to realize that divine silence is not something empty, but a constant communication that guides, enlightens, and transforms us. These practices not only prepare us to listen to Mary's signs, but also shape our mindset. Through them, we begin to develop a new way of seeing the world and the situations around us. We begin to realize that we are not alone, that we are not just living in everyday life, but that there is a divine purpose for each moment. Prayer, meditation, and active listening transform us from the inside out, creating a mindset that is in tune with the divine and, consequently, more receptive to Mary's gentle touch. Now, I want to know, have you already practiced any of these actions to attune your spirit to the divine? What has your spiritual preparation journey been like? Write down, I'm on this journey too. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because we are about to explore one of Mary's most powerful and transformative messages, something that goes beyond a simple invitation, but rather a true calling that resonates deep within our souls. This unrevealed message, the first, calls us to return to faith, a return to something we often lose along life's journey. In such a hectic world, so full of distractions and challenges, we end up drifting away, without even realizing it, from our spiritual essence. And this is precisely where Mary's invitation comes in. She calls us back, not with words of condemnation, but with a voice full of hope, and, at the same time, an urgent warning. It's a message that doesn't demand grandeur, but simplicity. It's not about making grand promises or enacting radical changes immediately, but rather a call to look within ourselves and ask, where am I, really? How have I been living my faith? Do I still feel connected to the divine, or have I allowed myself to be lost amid life's challenges? Mary invites us to pause, reflect, and return to the essence of our spiritual journey. No matter how far we've strayed or the difficulties we face, returning to faith is always possible. This is the power of Mary's message. It reminds us that, no matter how distant we feel, the door to reconnection with God and divine purpose is never closed. This message is one of hope, yes, but also of warning. Mary knows what it's like to live in a world where we often forget the importance of prayer and unshakable faith, and get lost in the rush, in the incessant struggle for survival and worldly success. And when this happens, what's left behind is our true essence, the faith that sustains us, guides us, and transforms us. Mary's message calls us to return to this essence, to reconnect with what truly matters. She invites us to abandon external distractions and look within, where the true strength that can guide us in any situation lies. What Mary asks of us is not a return to mechanical religiosity, but to a personal relationship with God, with the divine, which is experienced daily, in small actions, in gestures of love and faith. It's not about following meaningless rules or traditions, but about truly delving into our spiritual essence, allowing our faith to be the foundation of our decisions, actions, and relationships. Mary calls us to a living, pulsating faith that transforms us in every moment. And to achieve this, she asks us to return to simplicity, to what is essential. It seems we often forget this, doesn't it? Because we're so immersed in the demands of everyday life's work, responsibilities, and worries, faith ends up taking a back seat. However, it's in this moment of inner silence that we encounter Mary's call, a gentle yet powerful invitation to return to the source of our true strength, the faith that connects us to the divine. Mary knows that the spiritual life isn't something to be forgotten. It's something to be lived with every step, and she reminds us of this with this clear and powerful message. This message, in its simplicity, awakens us to the reality that faith is not something we should merely profess with words, but something that must be lived, nurtured, and practiced. We cannot distance ourselves from our spiritual essence and expect life to have the same meaning. On the contrary, it is by reconnecting with this essence that we find true purpose and true peace. Many people, in moments of doubt or isolation, begin to realize, deep in their hearts, that something is missing, that life has lost its direction, that the connection with the divine has been lost. And it is in this moment of emptiness that Mary's call resonates most strongly. She reminds us that faith is not an occasional practice, but a way of life, a path of continuous transformation. Returning to faith, then, is not merely an act of seeking solace or comfort, but a return to divine action in our lives, to the will of God that guides and strengthens us. And this return doesn't happen instantly. The journey is continuous, but it begins the moment we decide to return to our spiritual essence. Transformation begins when we accept Mary's invitation and make the decision to renew our faith, to return to what truly matters. Sometimes this decision can be difficult, especially if we feel disconnected or if life has taken us away for a while. But Mary's message is clear. It's never too late to return. She offers us the opportunity to begin anew, each day, each moment. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like you'd strayed from your true spiritual essence? What was that process like? Returning to your faith, rediscovering what truly matters? Comment below. That makes sense to me. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because Mary's second message is a true invitation to transformation, but also to purification. And, as you know, purification is not something simple or comfortable. Mary calls us to a process of inner purification, which is often painful, but absolutely necessary for our spiritual growth. It's difficult to look within ourselves and confront our flaws, our mistakes, the weaknesses we often try to hide or deny. But it is precisely in this confrontation with our own vulnerability that true transformation occurs. Mary knows that purification is not an easy process. She calls us to remove the impurities we carry in our souls, impurities that can come from our choices, our negative thoughts, or our selfish attitudes. These inner frictions are like stones that prevent us from growing spiritually and advancing. In our walk with God, often we get used to carrying these stones, thinking it's impossible to leave them behind. The fear of facing our flaws and the pain of abandoning old habits make the purification process something to be dreaded. But Mary, with her infinite wisdom, reminds us that it is through this purification that we experience true freedom. This message of purification is a call to face our shadows, those parts of ourselves we try to ignore or hide. But the great truth Mary reveals to us is that we can only be transformed when we decide to make room for this inner cleansing. And often, this means dealing with the pain of seeing who we truly are, facing the mistakes we've made, and recognizing the areas in our lives that need healing. This process is not a punishment, but a divine opportunity to grow and evolve. Mary knows that without purification, we cannot advance on our spiritual journey. She knows that if we do not free ourselves from the burdens of the past, we cannot open ourselves to the new that God has in store for us. Inner purification is like a flame that burns what needs to be burned, a fire that purifies the gold of the soul, but which often brings pain before leaving us stronger, purer, and more prepared to fulfill our divine mission. Without this process, we remain stagnant, unable to reach the next level in our walk with God. What's truly difficult for most of us is facing our own humanity, our flaws and weaknesses. But, as Mary teaches us, this isn't something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Spiritual purification calls us to look at these flaws with compassion and a willingness to learn, grow, and change. It's not about punishing or condemning ourselves, but about freeing ourselves from the weight of sin and imperfections to live in a way more aligned with God's love and will. When Mary speaks of purification, she's not just talking about an external cleansing, something superficial. She invites us to a purification that goes deep within, to the deepest layers of our being, where the shadows of our soul are hidden. It is in this place of vulnerability and fragility that true transformation occurs, and, often, it is in this place of pain and discomfort that God finds us ready to heal and restore us. This purification also requires courage. Courage to look at ourselves without masks, without justifications, and accept that the path to holiness requires constant work, a willingness to leave behind everything that no longer serves us. Sometimes this may mean abandoning old patterns of behavior, thinking, or even relationships that keep us stuck in the past. But by doing so, we make room for what is new, for the healing and renewal that God desires to give us. I know it's not easy. Dealing with our flaws, our shadows, is a process that requires courage, humility, and patience. But it's also a process of profound growth. It's through this purification that we become stronger, more prepared to live according to our true spiritual essence. And, as Mary teaches us, purification is not a burden to be carried alone, but a journey we can take with her by our side, guiding us with love, patience, and mercy. Have you ever experienced this purification process in your own life? Have you ever faced the pain of looking within and seeing your own flaws? I know it can be painful, but it's also an essential step in our transformation. Comment below. I'm on this journey too. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because if there's one central practice that connects us directly with Mary and the divine, it's prayer. And I'm not just talking about sporadic prayers, but constant, ongoing prayer, like an open conversation with God and our Heavenly Mother. Prayer is the most powerful tool we have for hearing Mary's gentle touch and perceiving divine guidance in our lives. When we surrender to prayer with a sincere heart, something profound happens. It's not just about asking or giving thanks, but about opening our hearts and aligning ourselves with something greater than ourselves. Prayer is, indeed, a direct connection with the divine, and it is through prayer that we can truly hear and perceive Mary's signs on our path. It seems simple, doesn't it? But true prayer, the kind that comes from the heart, is a practice that requires commitment, patience, and faith. Often, we are so immersed in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, with our responsibilities and worries, that we forget to set aside time to truly pray. Constant prayer isn't something that happens only in the morning or at night, but is a continuous practice, a state of mind that keeps us connected to the divine in every moment, with every breath. It is through prayer that we learn to listen, to connect with the divine in any circumstance, whether in joy or in sorrow. Mary teaches us this, showing that, even in the most challenging situations, it is in prayer that we find the strength to carry on. And I want to share with you some stories that touched me deeply, inspiring testimonies of people who experienced powerful transformations through prayer. One very striking example is that of a man who, after years of struggling with depression and feelings of emptiness, began to pray more frequently, seeking Mary's help. He didn't have high expectations or know exactly what to expect, but he felt the urge to commit himself to this practice. Little by little, his life began to change. It wasn't an immediate transformation, but he began to feel a growing peace in his heart. With each prayer, he felt Mary's gentle touch, and this brought a clarity and meaning to his life that he hadn't found through years of external searching. Prayer, at that moment, was not just a religious practice, but a point of connection with something greater, transforming his mind, his perspective, and his outlook on life. This testimony is just one among many. Prayer has the power to profoundly transform people's lives, to renew the mind and spirit, and to open doors that previously seemed closed. I also met a woman who, after experiencing a devastating loss, began to pray more fervently, asking for comfort and strength. She described how, with each prayer, she felt her pain eased, as if Mary were by her side, embracing her and giving her the strength to move forward. The power of prayer lies not only in asking for something, but in opening the heart to receive the divine grace that helps us endure life's difficulties. She wasn't asking for an immediate miracle, but rather seeking peace, serenity, and the strength to face challenges with faith. Prayer has this transformative power. It is more than a simple religious act. It is a practice that connects us with our own spirituality, with the divine forces that guide us. And when we pray, we are not just talking to God, but to Mary, who, as our Heavenly Mother, is always ready to listen and guide us, always with the gentle and caring touch that only she can offer. When we pray, Mary makes herself present in a unique way, touching our hearts and guiding us toward inner transformation. It is in prayer that we find answers, comfort, and direction in times of doubt and difficulty. And the most beautiful thing is that, just as Mary teaches us, prayer doesn't have to be complicated or grand. It doesn't matter if you have eloquent words or not. What matters is the heart that prays, the sincerity with which you surrender to the moment, and the faith you place in each word. Sometimes, a simple prayer, a phrase, a sigh of faith, is enough to open the channel of communication with the divine. Mary calls us to true prayer, which is not measured in words, but in intentions and the love we place in each moment of connection with God. The power of prayer lies in the surrender, trust, and patience with which we accept the process of spiritual transformation. I know that, for many, prayer can be a difficult practice to incorporate into their routine. But, as Mary teaches us, it is through constant prayer that we find the strength to carry on, the clarity to make decisions, and the peace to face life's challenges. And this isn't something that happens immediately, but an ongoing process, a path of growth and trust. Prayer is the most direct way to connect with divine grace, to perceive Mary's signs, and to allow ourselves to be guided by her on our spiritual journey. Now, tell me, have you ever experienced a moment of transformation through prayer? How has prayer impacted your life and your spiritual path? Comment, that resonates with me. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because Mary's fourth teaching is truly transformative and invites us to reflect on unconditional love and divine mercy. Mary, in her infinite goodness, reveals to us the power of mercy in a way that few can fully understand, but that we can all experience. Mary's love is not just an expression of affection, but a powerful force that welcomes us, forgives us, and transforms us. This love is a reflection of divine mercy, something offered to each of us, regardless of our failings, our weaknesses, or past mistakes. Mary's mercy is an outstretched hand, waiting for us to take it and thus reconcile us with ourselves, with the divine, and with our neighbors. Mary, as Heavenly Mother, is the one who never abandons us. Even when we stray, she is there, always, ready to welcome us back with open arms. The power of this mercy is something that heals us, that frees us from the weight of sin and guilt, that gives us a new chance at every moment. We often find ourselves carrying heavy burdens of regret, of mistakes made, and it's easy to think there's no going back, that we're unworthy of forgiveness. But that's where Mary comes in, with her immense grace, reminding us that divine mercy never runs out and that she is always ready to forgive us. No matter what we've done, The great truth is that, to receive this mercy, we must be open to it. We must be humble enough to acknowledge our failings and, at the same time, have the courage to surrender ourselves to the forgiveness offered to us. This openness to divine mercy is a process of inner healing, where we cast off the chains of guilt and regret and allow ourselves to be renewed. Mary, with her example of compassion, teaches us that mercy is not a prize reserved for the perfect, but a grace given to those who sincerely seek reconciliation, whether with themselves or with God. This message of mercy challenges us to reflect deeply. How are we receiving God's mercy in our lives? Do we often close ourselves off to it, carrying our sins as if they were a burden impossible to let go of? Divine mercy is available to everyone, but we must allow ourselves to embrace it. Mary, in her infinite goodness, shows us that forgiveness does not mean denying our mistakes, but rather the opportunity to begin anew, to live with God's grace renewed in our hearts. I know that for many of us, the idea of forgiving ourselves or others can be a profound challenge. The pain of the past, the injustices we've experienced, the mistakes we've made, all of this can seem impossible to overcome. But Mary's mercy teaches us that, instead of allowing these wounds to define us, we can transform them into points of strength and learning. Forgiveness is a path of liberation, allowing us to reconcile not only with others but also with ourselves. By forgiving, we make room for peace and true healing to enter our hearts. Forgiveness frees us from the chains of anger, guilt, and suffering, and aligns us with divine will. Mary, with her infinite patience and compassion, teaches us that mercy is not a favor, but a divine gift that everyone can receive, regardless of where they come from or what they have done. Mary's love and mercy know no bounds, and she shows us, with her example of acceptance and forgiveness, that we can, indeed, overcome our shortcomings and transform our lives. Mary's mercy is a powerful tool for our own inner transformation. By accepting it, we are renewed, we are healed, and we can finally walk in peace with our hearts and with God. At many moments in life, when the weight of failures or regrets seems too great to bear, it's important to remember that Mary is always available to welcome us, no matter where we are or what we've done. Divine mercy is at our disposal, always ready to restore us. The key is to recognize our need for mercy and open our hearts to receive it, allowing it to transform us and lead us to a new level of understanding, peace, and faith. Now, I want to hear from you. How have you experienced divine mercy in your life? Have you allowed yourself to be forgiven and welcomed by Mary, or do you still carry burdens that need to be left behind? Comment below. I'm on this journey too. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because to speak of Mary as an intercessor is to understand her crucial role in our spiritual journey. Mary, in her immense goodness and love, not only guides us but also acts as a link between us and the divine. She is the one who, through her intercession, brings us closer to God, helps us find answers, make decisions, and follow the path of faith and truth. But what exactly does it mean for Mary to be our intercessor? What makes her such a powerful and trustworthy guide in our spiritual lives? When we speak of intercession, we are referring to the fact that Mary intercedes for us before God, praying for us, presenting our prayers and needs directly to the Lord. She is not only at our side, but also before us, interceding for God's graces to reach us, so that we may be touched by His mercy and love. This intercession of Mary is like a bridge that connects us directly to the heart of God, especially when we feel our words are not enough, or when pain and suffering seem to silence our voice. The beauty of this intercession lies in the fact that Mary, as a mother, knows deeply the challenges of human life. She knows what it means to suffer, what it means to lose, what it means to be in pain and uncertainty. Her experience on earth and her unconditional love for all her children make her the perfect intercessor. She not only presents our requests, but also guides us, directs us, and brings us peace and serenity in times of storm. Often, when life challenges us, we can feel Mary's presence as a gentle yet firm guide, reminding us that, despite the difficulties, we are not alone. She sustains us, protects us, and leads us back to the path of trust and faith. There are many accounts of people who, in times of great need, felt Mary's presence as a spiritual guide. One testimony that touches me deeply is that of a woman who, after experiencing a crisis of faith, felt completely lost and directionless. She searched for answers, but nothing seemed to bring clarity or peace. It was then that, in a moment of deep prayer, she asked Mary to intercede for her, to guide her back to the light. During that prayer, she described an intense feeling of peace, as if a gentle presence enveloped and calmed her. She felt as if Mary were there, beside her, guiding her, comforting her, and showing her the way. It was at that moment that she experienced spiritual renewal, a return to faith, and from that moment, her journey of healing and strengthening began. This testimony is just one among many we can find. For Mary's intercession is not something distant or inaccessible, but a reality experienced by those who are open to her presence and care. Mary, in her intercession, not only listens to our prayers but also helps us hear what God wants to tell us. She acts as a channel of communication between us and the divine, guiding us in moments of darkness, in moments of doubt, in moments of affliction. Her intercession helps us understand that prayer is not just a supplication, but a way of connecting with God's grace, and that, through Mary, our prayers gain more strength, more direction, and more purpose. In many moments of need, when life seems to be falling apart, or when we face difficult decisions, we feel we don't know where to turn. It is at these times that Mary is present, offering her guidance, comfort, and intercession. Mary's presence in our spiritual lives is not just a help, but a truly transformative force. She leads us to look at God more deeply, helps us trust more fully in the divine plan, and teaches us to live with more love, more hope, and more faith. Mary, as intercessor, is the mother who is always ready to welcome her children, who never abandons us, no matter how far away we may be or how difficult the circumstances. Her intercession is not only to ask God for something, but also to guide us on the path of holiness, to help us discover our true mission and remain steadfast in faith, even when everything around us seems doubtful or uncertain. I believe that many of you, like me, have felt Mary's presence in a very real way in your lives. Whether in moments of prayer, in moments of decision, or in moments of pain and suffering, she is always there, ready to guide us, ready to give us the strength we need to move forward. Mary never abandons us, and she intercedes for us constantly, even when we cannot see her. Her presence is a constant in our spiritual lives, and it is through her that we find the true meaning of our journey. Now, tell me, have you ever felt Mary's presence as a guide in your spiritual life? How has she interceded for you? Write down, "I'm on this journey too." Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the journey to discover Mary's messages is far from over. Mary's gentle touch, as we have seen, continues to touch the hearts of those ready to listen, and it is only the beginning of a path of profound spiritual transformation. These messages do not reveal themselves completely all at once. They unfold over time, and Mary, with her infinite patience, guides us through this gradual process. Each new sign, each new message, offers us a unique opportunity to draw closer to God and our true spiritual essence. But what lies ahead on this journey? What else does Mary have to teach us? I can't answer these questions with certainty, but I can assure you that the journey of discovery is filled with revelations, moments of growth, and, of course, moments of difficult reflection. What Mary asks of us is that we be open, patient, and courageous enough to follow the signs, however subtle they may seem. She guides us, but it is up to us to choose to follow and listen to the voice that calls us. Each time we open ourselves to this gentle touch, we are taking a step forward on our spiritual journey, discovering more about ourselves and the divine plan. Mary never leaves us alone on this journey. She is always by our side, ready to intercede, guide us, and help us deal with the difficulties that arise along the way. Her love and mercy envelop us, and with each new sign, we can feel that we are closer to the truth she wishes to reveal to us. Mary's messages are not just words. They are invitations to a profound transformation, leading us to a deeper understanding of life and spirituality. You may not realize it right away, but Mary's signs are present in every moment of your life. They manifest in subtle ways, often in the small details of everyday life. Mary's presence can be felt in a sense of peace that arises in the midst of a storm, in a moment of clarity after a time of confusion, or even in the simple tranquility we feel after a sincere prayer. These signs continue to touch the hearts of those ready to hear them. And as we continue on our journey of faith, we can expect more of these divine revelations, more of these gentle nudges, leading us to a greater understanding of our mission and divine purpose. Of course, the path will often not be easy. Spiritual transformation doesn't happen overnight, and Mary's signs may seem fleeting or difficult to understand. But the beauty of this journey is that, with each step, our faith is strengthened. With each sign, our trust in God and Mary grows. And even when it seems we are alone, Mary is always with us, guiding us with her silent yet powerful love. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed any subtle signs of Mary in your life? Have you ever, in the midst of a difficult moment or doubt, felt that gentle but unmistakable presence that comes to bring peace or direction? Leave a comment below and share your experience. Don't forget that we're all on this journey together, and each of us has something valuable to share with others. Comment below, "I'm on this journey too." If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for staying with me until the end. I hope Maria's messages touched your heart and that you felt a deep connection with what was shared. If this content resonated with you and you feel that the spiritual journey is something you want to continue exploring, subscribe to the channel. Each video brings more reflections, more teachings, and your presence here makes all the difference. Leave a comment saying this message was for me, just so I know you made it to the end and that this content truly touched your heart. Oh, and if the video brought you something positive, don't forget to like it. as this helps me know we're moving in the right direction. And if you want to continue this journey of discovery and growth, there's a video right here that complements everything we talked about today. Click there and follow me on this journey. We'll see you there.